get the distance. So if you want to maximize your cast, you have got to learn to cast with two hands. The furthest cast that you can make, as far as in my opinion, is to take a two-handed cast, grip your bait caster, just like that with your, two fingers between the trigger there, grab a hold of the lower part of the handle on your rod there, and cast it with two hands at about a 2 o'clock position. So in other words, it's about this position right here. About that 2 o'clock position is the perfect position to really launch that bait out there a long way. And then also another thing with it, it's sort of like golf or bowling. You can get more distance if you use your body along with it, like you use your hips and your momentum. So what I like to do, say I'm ready to make a long cast, I'll actually take one step forward and cast like that. So it's just, my feet are stationary. I take one step forward, cast like that. Now, that is the longest maximum cast. Other ways you can cast a long way is sidearm two-handed like that. You can get a long cast there, or coming from the left side like that. But if I really want to maximize that cast, I've got two hands just like that. Now, let me give you another piece of advice. You can, it doesn't matter if you're right or left-handed. A lot of people cast with their right hand on the bait caster and put their left hand like that. You can actually cast farther if you use your left hand. There's something about the momentum of the power that you have with your right hand if you're right-handed, because if you're right-handed, you got more power to push down on the bottom of that rod rather than your left hand like that. So I always go with my left hand, 2 o'clock position like that. Now that's with the bait caster. Now let's talk about a spinning rod. Spinning rod's a little bit different here. Spinning rod, what you're gonna have to have on there is you gotta have a little bit more of a whip on the tip here, because since the spinning rod most of the time is a little bit lighter action, I really want a soft tip on a spinning rod. That soft tip, again, it acts sort of like a slingshot out there. And in order to make a long cast with the spinning rod here, you also have to have the proper distance between the rod tip and your bait. So you want to have probably about 3.5 feet. It's like if you have a little bit shorter, you can't make quite as long as a cast, but I want some type of about a 3.5 foot distance, and that acts even more like the catapult, and it's sort of the same cast, guys, with it, except instead of using my body, I'm using my wrist more. I'm still holding it with two hands. I got my left hand above it. I've got my right hand above my reel here. I've got my left hand on the handle, and I'm using a lot more of a wrist action. I'm not throwing it out there with my arm like I do with the bait caster. It's more of a chew, just like that. Same deal with the sidearm.